Yo, peoples, or Plus Ultra fam, or whatever we're calling you guys at this point. This is going to be my last update video for 2023, and what I really want to use it as is kind of a first update video for 2024, so I'm not rushing for one. And in that vein, because I know these things aren't usually going to get watched anyway, I'm going to try my best to make this very, very short and sweet and not waste all that much time. And I want to say I appreciate you for watching and staying informed for the channel. There's not a lot to cover, but there is some important stuff to cover. And first off, what may seem like something that's kind of most pressing and to some of you is probably very obvious and yet a weird change to the channel, and if you really looked at it, I guess, or even thought about it. But I changed my screen name, basically. And a few of you have wondered why and noticed. Some of you haven't. First off, it's really nothing against My Hero Academia or me not liking it anymore. I'll admit this final arc has been a bit iffy and whack at some point. But really, that's most battle manga, or shonen battle manga's finales, if you really sit there and think about it. And that doesn't really change the journey or enjoyment up until then, ever, really, for me. And beyond that, there have been some genuinely top 10 moments of My Hero in this final arc that I absolutely cannot wait to see in the anime. So, I definitely still love My Hero Academia, and I do want to do more with it, even though the big meme of the channel is I barely do anything with it, with my name being Plus Ultraman. So I'm not trying to dissociate myself from it or hate or anything like that. Legit, my biggest reason for the screen name change is both because in actual conversation with people I talk to online that use my screen name, they already always call me Plus, more than likely. And in the extremely common instance where I find myself at some family function or an event, I have lots of my elders or just kind of older people in my life who aren't really tech savvy or who like get on the internet that much. And they're really kind of me up. They're usually like family members, and they'll kind of shout me out like in very casual conversation, even if YouTube or like content creation isn't a part of the conversation. No, I actually really dislike when that happens without prompting in everyday life, and I really do my best to avoid those kind of conversations. But I do have a really great family and friends, and they all love me, and they're trying to be supportive, and in fairness, telling everyone you know is the way to be supportive. So basically, when I have to tell somebody who not only knows nothing about anime or manga or even much about the internet, YouTube, or how to browse them, saying the entire name plus Ultraman like 3-4 times, then explaining what that's from and why I chose it, it's very tedious when I could just say, oh, it's Plus, and if there is more confusion from there, I can just point to the little like cartoon me on their phone instead, and then we're done, it's over. And I am only obligated to go into extreme weeb babble if somebody actually wants to genuinely hear from me. So it just saves some effort, a little bit of embarrassment, and keeps me from just burying people in raw confusion when trying to talk about this stuff. Especially since the people in question are usually going to be like pity subscribers who will never watch any of my content at all. And the third reason I went ahead and changed my screen name is a little update YouTube did to make it a little bit more like Twitter, where everyone gets an official channel that shows up in the comment section, allows you to tag them. That also allows me to remain as Plus Ultraman without always having to introduce normies to myself like that constantly. So again, it's nothing really newsworthy why I did it, but inquiring minds wanted to know. But yeah, I'm still Plus Ultraman. It's just a lot easier for us to refer to me as Plus and for me to refer to myself as Plus when introducing new people to the channel. Moving along, like I said, I'm going to try and make this very short. As for the generally relevant updates, basically a lot of what I set out to do for 2023 got done. Some stuff didn't, and yes, that does suck, but it's life, and we thankfully still have time and a chance to try again in 2024. I've kind of gotten to a point where my biggest win at the end of a lot of days is just recognizing I've made some movement forward. And, you know, really and truly, this year was a massive success, just in terms of kind of getting back to form. If you really think about it, since I went into my first year of college and since, you know, finishing college, I've not been as consistent as I was this year, and that was just really nice to get back to and remind myself, hey, I could do this if I really wanted to full time. Well, excuse me, not just if I wanted to, but you know what I mean. As always, the biggest thing I wanted to do was just get stories, you know, closer to being done or done, and we did a lot of that this year, and a lot of that was very much thanks to you all, and I do owe you all a lot of thanks for your support, so I do really appreciate that. And some other good news, we got some new connections with quicker and more reliable artists to help with visuals. That's absolutely been a massive aid in just opening production and me like getting stuff out, since that is something I'm pretty obsessed with, even though I don't really need to be. We got some pretty major progress on a bunch of the currently ongoing collabs on the channel, and even started on some upcoming stuff as well that you guys really haven't even heard all that much about. Like for instance, Ronin Charizard and I originally told you Season 2 of GSA was officially over with the finale of Season 2 is what we called it. But that's not exactly true, since we have in mind at least 3 specials that are meant to tie into this arc of the story as well. I even have very major and in-motion plans for another What If Relay finally, and I'm pretty literally like bouncing off the walls in excitement for that one. Another one was that I dipped my toe into shorts content, since YouTube is pretty obsessed with competing against TikTok, and even found some success with that, and both actual like short one-shot like What If Super Mini style stuff that allow me for more like discussion and analysis approaches to ideas that I don't really feel need a true full series, or even the odd chance to change some stories into super mini series. And by the end of the year, I am going to compile all of my shorts of 2023 into one really big reel to help catalog and organize all of them. And that's mostly because as you add them, they're going to be harder to actually scroll down through the shorts tab to go through, and also looking through shorts in a playlist isn't that fun, I've noticed. And then, after I've done that shorts reel, I'll be doing the expansions on some of those mini-series like I said I would, doing Naruto one early, or the Z Fighters became androids, and kind of expanding on those to make any additions or elaborations I kind of wanted to before trying to compile them into a super mini series or full super mini series, full story, whatever you want to call it. And it just kind of makes a little more sense, and it's easier to kind of wait like that, since we're still waiting on the end of the superhero manga, for example, to really know what's going to be happening beyond that from you to finish that androids one. And now on to the truly important things to note before the end of the year and the beginning of the next one are that, first and foremost, I gotta admit, I'm very burnt out and I really and truly need a break. But I just haven't really, acknowledged to myself just yet, as I feel like when I do, that's when the real burnout's gonna really like hit me all in waves. So in honesty, I need a break, but I just haven't really let myself take one truly yet. I've definitely had some weeks during the year where I slowed down and took it easier on myself than I was for most of the year, but in all honesty, I'm getting pretty tired and I'm ready for some downtime. And I also want to bump up my production next year if I can. So I have a dilemma, but at the same time, I don't want to lose out on the current consistency I have that makes it like, should I even change what I'm doing currently, or, get more settled before I even try and do all that stuff. So I really want to get you guys' feedback on some of this just to involve you in the conversation. So basically, I believe for at least the weeks leading up to Christmas and New Year's, I will do all I can to make all the new content I can just for the sake of shoring myself up for the next year. And that's definitely going to be a time for a break afterwards, so I have a few options for how to approach that break basically. Number one is obviously just take a true cold turkey break and there just be a bit of a drought on new content from me for about a month. This is the objectively least favorable one, since you guys are definitely not going to like it. I'll get bored and that breaks my streak, like I said. The only real pro of this one is that I would get the greatest amount of rest like that. And even then, knowing myself, I'd still get at least a pretty good bit of writing, brainstorming, and commissioning like visuals done, since at the end of the day, this is still something I do for fun as well. Option number 2 is to make some changes so I can kind of take a half break, as it were. I've got my What If Piccolo Was Canon series, which was meant to be a supporter exclusive series with only a couple parts meant to go out publicly to more so advertise it before its completion, at which point it was going to just come out consistently and lead up to an eventual full story. Honestly, I shouldn't even say advertise. It was mostly because, the parts that have come out, I think I really only planned to do like up to part 3. Those really came out because I would usually end up needing an emergency upload for that week just to maintain consistency. Thing about that is though, during that time, something or multiple somethings new are meant to be taking its place at the new support exclusive series, and so on, making that cycle. But in the grand scheme of things, it's not like we've been able to stick 100% to this plan after all. So option number 2 could be to just go ahead and demote Piccolo from a support exclusive series early on, even before its completion, to buy some time in the beginning of 2024. That way I can still take a pretty small break and again still be doing some stuff in the background while I am taking that break after all. And honestly, this one is more preferable because it is continued new content for you guys here on YouTube, and that's going to keep me consistent and keep me growing and all that stuff. And that'll buy me some time in the beginning of 2024 so I can still get a small break in and again still be doing stuff in the background. And that will be all without too harsh of a deadline to be up under and be stressing about. However, that would also mean that I'll be on the clock to start and get a good lead on a new series for supporters, or perhaps wait to choose the next one until Piccolo is finished. That's something I have to decide as well with option 2. And number 3, we do something a little more unorthodox and do like a month of one-shots or samplers featuring a bunch of the ideas that I pitched wanting to try a lot earlier this year, and make it so those videos are mostly shorter and easier to get out, just so that cushion is a lot easier to build. That would also give the advantage of a bunch of new blood for the channel, but the con with that would obviously be that it's going to give me a lot more to juggle and worry about with trying to finish a lot of stories at the same time, and we've all realized that's something I do struggle with. And it's important to note, these 3 aren't even necessarily our only options, though these are the ones sticking out the most to me at the very least. With some others being maybe just swapping to mostly shorts or live stream based content for a bit to take it easy and still get a break and still be doing new content. And that's why I want you guys to, truly have a conversation with me. Yeah, just your own ideas. Suggest, the kind of approach to a little time off you'd like to see me take. In the end, though, I just want to say I'm very happy with how things went for me in 2023, even if we didn't at the very least hit 69,420 subscribers like I was hoping to see the channel get to for the 5th year anniversary, but still, I feel like I did a lot, and I feel like I'm excited to do a lot more next year after I find a way to get a good break in. But that's it. I still want this to be short. If you are really that invested in like concrete plans, I would do my best to keep an eye on my community tab and the comment section of this video, since if there's anything I need to clarify, I might do so there. And any updates coming after this update would also be shown around there as well. So yeah, man, thank you guys or girls or queens and kings and NBs or whatever for all your support and the views and all that. I'm really excited for all that I have planned next year and just see all of what's going to happen. And I hope you are too. I'm gonna go ahead and get back to work for right now, and I will see you guys next time.